Look at this wall. Wet, rotting studs, crumbling OSB. A house built to fail. You think your home is a solid fortress, but behind the drywall, a ticking clock is counting down. America's housing boom promises modern luxury. The dark truth: it is engineered for short-term profits. Let me show you how we got here. It is a story of cheap materials and corner-cutting standards. This is Robert, Linda, and young Tommy. They bought their dream home in Atlanta. It cost them $400,000, a 30-year mortgage for a structure already dying. Most buyers think the building code protects them, but the code is just the bare legal minimum. If your house is built to the minimum, it is built to the edge of failure. We need to talk about wood, not the strong timber of the past, but fast-grown pine. Look at this growth ring comparison. This is a house built to fail. Modern framing lumber is grown in 15 years. It acts like a sponge for moisture. When this wood gets wet, it swells. When it dries, it warps and splits. But builders do not use solid wood for sheathing anymore. They use oriented strand board, or OSB. OSB is made of wood chips glued together. Under heat and pressure, it looks strong. But what happens when moisture leaks in? Subscribe so you don't miss how deep this scam goes. Let us look at level 1 of structural failure. Cheap OSB swelling at the edges. Once water hits OSB, the glue loses its hold. The wood flakes expand like popcorn. This swelling is irreversible. Even when dry, the panel never regains its original strength. And yet, this is the standard wrap for millions of homes across the nation. It gets worse. Water leaks in through the siding, trapped behind cheap house wrap. This brings us back to Atlanta, where the millers are noticing the first warning signs. Robert presses a moisture meter into the siding. The reading is off the charts. Inside the wall cavity, level 1 failure has begun. The OSB is turning into mush. Most people ignore this stage. Siding hides the rot for years. But while the wood softens, the metal fasteners holding your home together face their own enemy. Welcome to level 2, the total degradation of steel fasteners inside your walls. In the past, builders used hot-dipped galvanized nails. They resisted rust for decades. Today, fast-production pneumatic nail guns use thin wire nails with micro-thin coatings. The impact of the nail gun strips away the protective layer. The steel is left bare. When water leaks through swelled OSB, it pools around these vulnerable fasteners. The chemicals used in modern pressure-treated wood actually accelerate this corrosion. Copper in the wood meets steel in the nail. A battery-like reaction eats the metal away. A nail that could hold 1,000 pounds is reduced to dust in under 10 years. Now imagine this happening at the structural joints of your second-floor balcony. Or the joists supporting your kitchen floor, the very floor you walk on. Instead of heavy bolts, builders use staples, fast, cheap, and fragile. Under load, these rusted staples pull out. The wall loses its sheer strength. When was the last time you checked your crawl space? Seriously, think about it. If the fasteners fail, the wood starts to move. and movement is the beginning of the end. Let us see what happens when the load transfers to the roof trusses. Modern roof trusses are built with web-like wood. They are engineered to be paper-thin. These trusses rely on tiny metal plate connectors. We call them truss plates. If moisture enters the attic, the wood swells and spits the plate out. Once a single plate fails, the truss buckles. The roofline begins to sag. This is not a slow process. A wet attic can destroy a roof in years. Builders save $300 per house using these thin trusses instead of rafters. $300. The price of your roof collapsing under snow load. But the developers are already gone. They made their profit and moved on. The LLC that built your home is dissolved. You have no one to sue. You are left holding the bill, an expensive shell that is rotting from the inside. Let us look at the scale of this problem across the United States. Over 40% of new homes built since 2000 show signs of early structural damage. That is millions of families living in houses that are slowly decomposing. And the building materials industry lobby ensures the standards stay right where they are. If you've seen wood rotting under your own siding, share your story in the comments below. Now, let us return to the millers. The situation is escalating. Robert cuts a small hole in the drywall. What he finds makes him sick. The floor joists are separating. Rusted framing nails are pulling out of the wood. Level 2 failure has compromised the main floor support. The house is moving. Linda looks at the estimate to fix the framing. It is $70,000. $70,000. A fortune for a family that just bought their home. But while the floor sags, the roof is fighting level 3 of structural failure, truss warping. Wood is anisotropic. It expands differently in 3 directions as moisture levels change. Modern light frame trusses have no bulk to resist these internal forces. When an attic is not ventilated correctly, humidity builds up to dangerous levels. This hot, wet air softens the wood fibers of the trusses, making them pliable. Under the heavy load of roof tiles, the warped trusses begin to deflect downward. This deflection creates waves in the roof. Water pools in the low spots. More pooling water means more leaks. A vicious cycle starts. Look at this sagging roof line. This is a house built to fail. In the 1970s, homes were built with solid Douglas fir rafters. They did not warp like this. But Douglas fir is expensive now. Fast-grown southern yellow pine has taken over. It grows twice as fast, but has half the structural density. It is weak. When a truss warps, it pulls the exterior walls inward, causing them to bow. What year was your house built? Seriously, think about it. If it was built in the last 20 years, you have this wood in your attic. And unless you live in a desert, humidity is acting on it right now. Let us look at how builders hide these problems from home inspectors during sales. They use fresh paint and quick caulking. It smells new, but it is hiding rot. The buyer smells fresh paint. They think they are safe. They are not. By the time the paint peels, the warranty has expired. You are on your own. This brings us to level 4 of structural failure: rotting wall sheathing and studs. When OSB and studs rot, they lose all load-bearing capacity. The wall softens. The weight of the roof presses down on studs that have the strength of wet cardboard. This is the point of no return. The house is actively collapsing in slow motion. In Atlanta, the Millers have reached this exact point. The drama is real. Their home is structurally compromised. The city inspector says they must evacuate. $40,000 in savings, gone. And they still owe $300,000. But there is a way out of this trap, a solution that saves your home. Let us look at how you can prevent this from happening to your house. Level 4 failure is about water getting trapped behind your siding with no escape. Cheap plastic house wrap is supposed to breathe. In reality, it acts like a greenhouse. It traps warm, humid air against the cold OSB sheathing. Rot begins. Within 5 years, the structural strength of the sheathing drops by 80%. This sheathing is what keeps your walls from racking under wind loads. Without it, the house relies entirely on the thin 2x4 wood studs. But those studs are already wet. The moisture has migrated into their core. Wet wood rot is caused by fungi that eat the cellulose. The structure dies. A wall stud should last a century. Modern ones rot in a decade. Why do builders keep using these materials? The answer is simple: profit margins. A builder saves $5,000 per house by choosing cheap OSB over plywood. To them, $5,000 is worth your home decomposing in 30 years. They will be long gone before you ever notice the first soft spot. This is not just cheap engineering, it is a systemic transfer of risk. The builder profits today. You pay for the collapse tomorrow. Let us look at how you can inspect your own walls for this damage. A thermal camera reveals temperature drops where wet wood is rotting behind siding. If you see a blue cold spot, water is trapped. You need to act. The solution is a rain screen, a simple gap that lets water drain and wood dry. Rain screens cost $2,000 extra. Most builders refuse to install them. $2,000 to save a $40,000 repair bill. A bad trade. But why would they care? They will be building under a new LLC tomorrow. When was the last time you looked under your windowsills? Think about it. If you see cracking caulk, water is already inside, rotting the studs. This rot eats the structure until level 5 of structural failure. Full collapse, lifespan. Let us return to Atlanta. The Millers are packed. Their house is empty. They must leave their home today. The bank demands payment anyway. Their dream of homeownership is now a 60-year financial sentence. They load the car in silence. Atlanta's rain pours down. This is not an isolated story. It is the future of suburban America. If we do not change the codes, the houses will keep rotting. We need to demand quality. Real wood, real fasteners, real drainage. Because a home should last more than 30 years. It should last generations. Now, let us look at the ultimate level of structural failure. Robert and Linda look at a crumbling timber wall stud. Level 4 is complete. Welcome to Level 5, the full lifespan structural failure of the building. When structural failure reaches Level 5, the house is no longer repairable. The wood framing has lost its elasticity. It cannot support its own weight. Every wall bows, every door jams. The foundation begins to shift. This is the result of 30 years of cheap materials and corner-cutting construction. The 30-year mortgage outlasts the 30-year house. A financial disaster. But it doesn't have to be this way. We can build houses that last a century. By choosing exterior plywood instead of cheap OSB, we double the wall life. Plywood can get wet and dry out without losing its structural strength. By installing a rain screen spacer mesh, we let the wood breathe. Water drains out, fresh air flows in. The wall cavity stays dry. By using hot-dipped galvanized fasteners, we stop rust in its tracks. These choices add $3,000 to the cost of construction. $3,000. The difference between a lifetime home and a pile of rot. Don't buy the lie. Demand a house built to stand, not a house built to fail. If you are buying a home, hire an inspector who checks wall moisture. If you are building, tell the contractor you want plywood and rain screens. Do not let them cut corners with your life savings. Stand your ground. The industry will only change when buyers refuse to accept garbage. We have the technology. We have the wood. We just need the will. A house should be an asset, not a ticking liability for your family. The next investigation will show you why foundations are also cracking. Subscribe to catch it. Rebuilt brick-clad home facade. Robert, Linda, Tommy looking relieved and happy. Their new home is built to last. No cheap sheathing, no trapped water. Make sure your next home is built the same way. See you next time.